Well, Bloomers, thank you very much for joining me once again on game day. Charlton Athletic 0, Ipswich Town 0. 4 goalless draws in the last 6 games for Town. 4 points off the playoffs now, which is better than it was before the kickoff. But another not great watch. Better than Wimbledon, but still, what else is there to say that we haven't been said before? But your thoughts as ever, my friend, on that goalless draw?
I'll give it a go and see how far I can get to dig some of the bones out of that one. 41 games now, 41 goals scored, 41 goals conceded. I think that sums up the season pretty nicely, to be honest. It also encapsulates the problem that we have, which is sticking the ball in the back of the net. That's 4 0-0 draws now in the last 6. Haven't scored 4 goals haven't scored a goal in 4 games consecutively for the first time in, I think it was like 7-8 years. It was better than Wimbledon, but that's the lowest bar set in human history. So yeah, I think the most positive aspect of today is that it all finished a couple of hours earlier than normal, so we can get out and have the Saturday afternoon to ourselves. I was expecting, like, obviously with Cook's comments in midweek about there being this demolition job, it actually wasn't that much of a change on the pitch in terms of people coming in. Obviously, Chambers being out was the biggest name, and look, we've got another clean sheet. So evidently, I can't see him starting the next game either, unless there's an injury. So it's quite telling that he might certainly be one of the higher profile names to be on the chopping block at the end of the season, which is what we've all said anyways. It was nice to see Kane Vincent-Young for an extended period of time. Showed a little bit of something. So did Dobra, but there's no cutting edge at all. I don't remember a decent chance we created. I mean, God knows what our XG must look like, because I can't think of any time us getting a clear-cut opportunity. So it's no surprise that we're not scoring any of these games, because we don't ever get the chances. Stephen Ward's had about 2 or 3 chances to cross the ball or square the ball, and just instead of actually looking up, trying to pick someone out, he's just putting it in an area where he thinks or hopes someone's going to be, and that kind of sums it up, really. It's just everyone hoping that someone else is going to do something, and no one is, because no one either has the ability or has the confidence, or a combination of both. Paul Cook must be still tearing his hair out. He probably hasn't seen anything in that 90 minutes to change his mind on anything that he's thought before. We're another game closer to the end of the season. Yeah, somehow we're closer to the playoffs than we were at the start of the day. God knows how. It just shows how poor this league is. And we are very much a fixture of it as well, of the poorness. So yeah, not really loads to say about it. I won't keep you for too much longer. I think that we've got 5 games now. The thing is, if we won the last 5 games somehow, we would get in the playoffs. I'm almost certain, just because with everyone else slipping up. It's obviously it's not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. Let's just keep battling through these games. You can keep collecting your paychecks, Ross, and then at the end of the season, we can go to the pub, socially distance, and lament what's been probably one of the worst seasons in Ipswich's recent history, well, modern history, or history in total. Take your pick.
Well, Segs, thank you very much, as ever, for joining me on game day. There's another goalless draw to talk about. Just spoken to Bloomers about the game. It's up to you now to share your thoughts on another beautiful goalless draw.
It's just basically, not like you say, another goalless draw. It was better than Tuesday. I mean, first minute and a half, 2 minutes, we had 8, but we made Ben Amos make a save. You know, it's a shot on target in the first 2 minutes. When was the last time we've had that so early on in the game? So, you know, we started off brightly, we looked the better team, and then obviously we let Charlton get back into it, and obviously pick up a bit of confidence and up themselves, and it is what it is. Holy was lucky early on, or sort of halfway through the first half, to make a mistake like that, and then thankfully McGuinness being where he was to actually clear it. So we were thankful there in that sense. As the game went on, we just drifted really. There's still a bit of fight there. We did look better in that terms today, much better than Tuesday, like I've already said. And they did seem to. It seemed like some of them have taken on that message on board from what Cook said Friday about, you know, we need to be clear out in major surgery and stuff like that. So there was definitely positives from today. I mean, KVY, he looks better. Looks better today than what he did do when he came back a couple of weeks ago. He definitely looks like the KVY of old. Hopefully, touch wood, he doesn't lose his fitness. I do think for the last 20 minutes or so, he had kind of sort of had enough. Not had enough, but kind of tired, and the game had got to him, which is fair enough. I mean, he hasn't played a full game in so long, and at the standard that we are. So, I think that's a big positive for next season. If he can keep fit, he's going to make a big difference for us. Fingers crossed, yeah. And obviously, Norwood going off is a bit of a downer. We just can't seem to keep him fit. But if we are to keep him now, I'd say we're more or less fit enough this season anyway. So there's no point starting him anymore. Just let him rest up, get himself ready for August, and then hopefully we could have the striker that we know that he can be, and actually, again, keep his fitness full, and then we can, have a decent striker for us to push on for next season and keep him fit. So, but of course, if he goes, he goes, and if Cook wants to bring in his own man, that's fair enough. But yeah, in terms of the actual game, yeah, it's just what it is. I don't think we're going to get much better than that the rest of the season. I mean, I know we've got some sort of easier games, let's say, coming up. I mean, that's our most difficult out of these 6. So obviously, it could get better for us. But I think we're at the stage now where it's just going to be like that from now on until summer, until Cook can do his magic in the summer. We can finally get to see the sunshine, even though the sunshine's out today. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things now where we've just got to ride with it and then hope for the best. Jackson for me today is just all pace and it's nothing else. One that I'd clear out. I wouldn't offer him a contract. But yeah, see where it goes from here. I see that Portsmouth are lost. We're actually closer to the playoffs, funny enough, 4 points in there. I mean, just kind of goes to show that the Cowleys aren't all that people make them out to be. So that's one plus for me. I think they're overrated. And if we do get in the playoffs, it's because Portsmouth have messed it up. I think it'll either be Charlton or someone like that. I don't think it's not going to be us. We're not going to get that 6th spot now. Just hold up to the season, write the season off and go again next year.
Well, Matt, thank you very much, as ever, for joining me on game day. It's a sunny day, and we just witnessed another goalless draw, the 4th goalless draw in 6 games. We can't score a goal, but that was a bit better than AFC Women on Tuesday night. A point at the Valley against Charlton. Your thoughts as ever, my friend?
Well, hey, Ross, thanks for having me back. I mean, you know what? That was better. You wouldn't, although you kind of wouldn't think that it was 2 teams still within a chance of the playoffs to get out of League One, this strange, weird kind of dichotomy of a league that we find ourselves in. Who knows how far this rabbit hole we're going to go down in League One? But you know what? Taking things out of context, a 0-0 draw away at a club like Charlton is not a good result. But what I saw today was much improved. I think 11 people capable of running for more than 10 minutes would have been better than the midweek game. But I think there was a few surprises ahead of kickoff with the lineup announced. Fantastic seeing my boy Kane Vincent-Young back. That was brilliant. Had a bit of a change of shape. Luke Chambers dropped. Norwood's back. And Edwards starting on his favoured left-hand side, cutting onto his right. We made a decent start. The way we set up was quite decent. I've said this all along. I'm not a fan of one striker up front, especially with the players that we've got supporting him. It's just too often kind of like kind of cut adrift, really. 10 players at the back on 1 player forward. As good as Norwood is, he's not strong enough to hold the ball up, and ultimately went off after 25 minutes. And we saw Caden Jackson come on. You'd hope that somebody like Jackson would have a bit of a point to prove on a day like this. Contracts coming to an end, much change kind of predicted on the horizon. But I think he put in a fairly decent shift. Although I think at times it's hard to kind of dissect what there is to his game other than just pure raw pace, which I think at this level is absolutely explosive. But you've got to be able to do something with it. Otherwise, we just have my retired greyhound on the wing, just running, running 40 miles an hour is skinning everybody with no end product. It would be no different from what we've seen so many times this season. But let's cut to the positives. Flynn Downs, imperious in midfield. He is. If he's here this time next year, I will eat my proverbial, because I mean that guy is just a notch up, isn't he? He would walk into any team in the Championship and also League One as well. Great seeing Mark McGuinness, my fellow back in the side today. We kind of wondered what happened to him, but we can all remember the start of the season, particularly when Arsenal under 23s defeated our first team in the Papa John's Trophy, is it called now? I don't know. He looked really good, with a Stuart Pearce-esque style, kind of high shorts. He knows what he's doing, and although I was never a fan of him or Wolfie next to each other, they look settled. It's a mystery what's happened to Toto. Anybody seen Toto? Has anybody heard from Toto? I mean, he's been playing well. He's been one of the few positives. Stephen Ward, left back, experienced campaigner, one of the only vocal players on the pitch at times, especially in these strange COVID days where all you can hear is Brenner Woolley and Paul Cook shouting at people, or shouting instructions, not at people, rather. Let's go on to the negatives, shall we? Teddy Bishop, a few glimpses of the brilliant kind of, can we call it potential? I don't think we can call Teddy potential anymore. There's players that are a couple of years younger than him that are winning World Cups and things like that. It's time he started putting in a shift. Dazelle started to go forward a little bit more, which was really, really encouraging, because when he's got the ball at his feet, he actually looks quite dangerous, which I thought was fantastic. But I mean, like I said at the start, it wasn't really if you were neutral, if you'd come from, I don't know, if you were Ben Pugh coming back from the Cayman Islands, wanting to see a crucial 6-pointer between two teams vying for the playoffs to get out of this league, then Charlton and Ipswich didn't really turn up. Although I think there's still plenty of positives to have, and dare I say it, we're still in with a chance. We can still do it. We've got some games left. I mean, yes, we can't score. And as a great man once said, goals win games. But I don't know. I think we're going to end up so close, and we're going to be we've scored 3 goals in the last 10 games. It could have been so much better. But that was improved. Yes, it would have been nice to score. Yes, it would have been nice to win. But it wasn't the absolute shit show. Sorry, kids. I swore. It's before bedtime and all that jazz. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We're a long way from where we need to be, but a better team performance, some courages to take on, and we've got a midweek game to look forward to. So roll on Tuesday, hopefully 3 points, but then again, we need to score. So who knows what's going to happen. So have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.
Well, John, welcome back to Game Day. It's good to have you on as ever. And let's chat about another goalless draw. We've spoken about a lot of goalless draws this season. Not many goals scored this season in total. Your thoughts as ever on this goalless draw against Charlton? Not many games to go now, so the nightmare is nearly over.
Well, my first thoughts were, thank God there's not many games left to go, Ross. Today was marginally better than the absolute terrible performance we saw for most of the game on Tuesday night. I could repeat anything I've said all season, Ross. In isolation, away from home against Charlton, we kept a clean sheet. You could take some positives there. It was better than other games we've seen, much better than a couple of recent ones, but it still wasn't very good, was it really? It wasn't very exciting to watch. I thought the first half we were okay. Not much between the two sides. Bright spark for me was KVY, especially start of the second half. Neat on the ball, a couple of twists and turns, holding on to it. Just nice to see him looking like the player we know he could be. I thought Dobra made a difference when he came on as well. So those two particularly lifted my spirits a little bit. I've got to say, I find, and I might be hurting you here, Ross, but your boy Guion, frustrating as hell at the moment. It's like he gives the ball away, or silly useless fouls all the time. I just, where's his form from the beginning of the summer gone? Bennett, Jackson, Dizel, even they all gave the ball away a hell of a lot. I think we're just cheap, to play against. I just want the summer to come, Russ. It was better, but still not good enough for me. It was, I've joked that I've seen Town play more this season than ever before in one season because of the weird circumstances we're all in, and being able to watch Town on iFollow, and about £400 worth spent on watching absolute terrible football. I've picked out of all the seasons in the, ever in my lifetime for me to choose to watch all these games. What an absolute joke I've chosen this year. I just hope that it's like Demolition Man gets his chance in the summer to work some wonders, and then hopefully the money we spend on supporting our beloved Town next season will be well worth it. Meeting up, having a beer, having a chat, enjoying the sunshine, and hopefully seeing some better football. But let's just blow the whistle of this season right now, because somehow we're still in touch of the playoffs. What is that about? How can it be? We have been woeful for the vast majority of the season. And without getting on a big rant, that's the worst thing about it, isn't it? It shows you that if we've been semi-decent, not even great, if we were semi-decent, we could have got a promotion. I mean, you look at Hull are what, I don't know, about 19 points above us, whatever it is, 16 points, whatever it is. And we beat them in one of the games. And they're not that good. And they're up there. And we're so close to being on the playoffs, so miraculously. I just don't understand how bad this league is. It's awful. It's awful. And I just think surely a man like Cook, with a bit of backing from the new owners, and it's going to just make things better for next year. I just, I'm bored. I want it to finish. Put me out of my misery, Ross. Put me out of my misery. KV White is the positive. Armando Dobra played quite well, I thought today. So, let's just move on. End of. Another boring draw. Better, but not good enough.
Well, David, you're the final man that I'm speaking to on game day today. The lads have spoken. Another goalless draw was had. No goals scored again. Your thoughts, as ever, on that draw against Charlton Athletic?
It's more of the same, isn't it? It's not cataclysmically bad, so that's sort of tantamount to being world beating, isn't it, at the moment? Same frustrations. I singularly fail to see what the point of Bennett's existence is. Dizel frustrates me because it's always sideways. There were a couple of times in the second half where he actually sort of took the ball and ran with it and got forward, and you think, well, yeah, do that. But too often, especially in the first half, it was just sideways and back. Benson Young grew into it, which was good. Ward, and I know various people have been stamping on this one, but free kicks, right? You fanny around, you insist on sort of taking this, you try and do it, and then you knock it back to Wolfenden, and then everybody regroups. Why? What's that about? There was one on the second half where we tried to take it quickly, we tried to take it quickly again, and then just knocked it backwards. And where are you gaining any advantage by doing that? And Ward, every single time, it was just, oh yeah, take that free kick backwards. You got a free cross, you got a free opening. It just infuriates. It's the same as backwards throw-ins. Get right up my nose, they do. And yeah, so Ward, no. Yes, a clean sheet, solid. But while Brenner was banging on about how we're knocking down the door and we're really going for this, if that's really going for it, I would hate to see what capitulation was. Really would. Charlton didn't have much, but when they went forward, they looked slightly more threatening than we did, because we got to the side of the box and then we didn't know what to do with it. We always have congestion, because it's the same thing. Cook's talked about it. We've talked about it over and over again. There's just never any pace. You don't open things up quickly. If you go back to Joe Royal and you look at those goals, the way in which we translated, or Burley or any number of the people, but I was thinking particularly of Royal there because we actually scored goals then. But the way in which you'd got Miller or you'd got somebody who would open the play up, and suddenly from being at the back, you've got three players breaking free. now you've got our nominal striker in Jackson unable to control a ball, taking it out wide, and then there's nobody in the box until such time as all the defenders get back. And that's been the story of the last 3 or 4 years. And that's the thing that really frustrates me. So, yes, it was a marginally better performance than Wimbledon, but that's because they didn't have 2 big men up front. We weren't down to 10 men. It was back to the same performance we've had against Rochdale and Wigan and things. So there were bright spots, but it's very much treading water. And anybody at all who's still looking at 4 points in the playoffs and thinking, "Oh, look, that's still on," is either been smoking something or they're exceedingly deluded. Because one is not happening, and if it did happen, what's the point? This is dead time. This is only about Cook finding out about his players, seeing which ones work in different places. I think why Wolfenden was back in the centre of defence, see what he's like there. And it's just a question of doing those things. It's an extended pre-season, and that's what today's game was very much like, wasn't it? It was a pre-season game with no intensity, no great desire from either side. It was just, yeah, we'll do this because it's sunny, and what else have we got to do? Roll on not having to watch any more of it on stupid television, please. I'd far rather be in the pub dissecting this after a game than having sat on the sofa watching it. Really, just end our misery, please.